You might know me as a real estate guy, but I also buy businesses, and I actually buy businesses with my business partner, Cody Barton. Cody Barton hasn't been on the channel for almost a year. He's now to my left. It's been a while, and the reason being is because Cody has been running the businesses that we have been buying. Cody and I got together in 2018. We started wholesaling real estate together, and our first office was actually a McDonald's cafeteria, like the little dining area. It was literally our first office. Our second office was a Starbucks building, and our third office was my living room right at my kitchen table. Our fourth office was
the place with Greg and Scott.
The place with Greg and Scott, right next to a little like hookah lounge, and it made our whole entire office smell like weed. We were there for a year. We had a blast. In fact, that whiteboard that you guys see me make YouTube videos on, that was in our hallway, and I would do meetups there every single Friday and educate people, That's where a lot of our brand took off. Then from that point, Cody and I still wholesaling, flipping together, helping a lot of people here locally in Arizona. We started buying rentals together. And then ultimately, in the last couple of years, Cody and I have been buying businesses together. And so we're going to be talking about some of the businesses that we own. Why do we like buying businesses? And what are some really cool projects that we've been working on recently? Hopefully you guys will get some value out of this today so that you guys can say, oh, I want to buy businesses like that. We've got some tips. We've got some things that will help you guys out by determining what business you should stay away from and the types of businesses you should go and gravitate towards. Cody Barton, welcome to the channel.
What's going on?
So Cody, what businesses do we own today together, the ones that you are running?
Yeah, so I mean, together right now, as far as some of the newer acquisitions, we have the Perfect Clean, which is a residential cleaning company here in Arizona that just this week, we actually, broke the record for them on, we're cleaning over 600 houses on recurring a month there, which is pretty cool.
Hold on, 600 houses a month on recurring?
Yeah.
600?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's insane.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool to see. Then we have, the Plant Guy, which, we've done a couple videos around, but, we've been working with them for now over a year. And, then the other focus is around, consulting on some of these other companies. So
cool. Now, one of the things that I want to jump into is the Plant Guy. And look, I've had a lot of conversations about the Plant Guy, very transparent and open about this business. This business came to us June 10th, 2023. I was in a Boise, Idaho hotel. I got a call from somebody saying, hey, this guy's in financial turmoil. He's in a bad situation, and he's actually thinking about committing suicide. And I'm like, whoa, all right, so what do you need my help for? And they go, well, maybe you could give this guy a loan. Well, the guy ended up being Matthew Lang, our partner in the Plant Guy. I get on the phone with Matthew Lang, talk to him about his loan that he needed. I'm like, bro, you don't need a loan. You need a full-on like autopsy of your business, and you need somebody to come in and save your entire company. Matthew Lang had been basically robbing from Peter to rob Paul. And it was so bad that he was behind on payroll taxes. He was behind on sales taxes. He was behind on all sorts of things. In fact, what was happening is he was taking orders, dollars amount, like he'd make a sale today in order to pay for a sale that they had done 6, 7, 8 months prior. And so they were robbing future customers to pay for past customers. And he was just running around. This was going on for 8 years. Now, in that 1.5-year time frame, we have turned that company entirely around.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's been an Everest.
Number one, no systems, no processes around sales, which I know has been probably the most, like the biggest peak that you've had to climb over on this Mount Everest. Sales, leads would come in, they would sit in the DMs or they'd sit in like weird, ambiguous places.
Neverland.
Neverland. Even me, as one of the owners of the company, I went to the office in person. I made an order that was like $70,000, and the company that we own did not even follow up with me. Like that was a significant, that was like a $70,000 order. I'm still waiting to place that order, like still to this day. So big backlog of orders, or not even orders. People are like, I want to buy the product. Famous people.
Yeah.
Like famous people, that's number one. Number two, mismanagement of money. Matthew Lang is a high-level visionary, but he did not know how to manage money. Management of employees, people in the wrong positions, wrong seats, company culture, all sorts of things. Products were not being ordered appropriately to make sure that you had a backlog of things that were constantly being ordered.
Yeah.
What else was there that was happening?
Yeah, so I mean, the things behind on, when we were first coming in, the production facility, the welding facility, the design center, all were multiple months behind on rent. We were, he was almost $200,000 behind in vendor payments for product and materials and all of this type of stuff. And behind on payroll taxes, behind, I mean, just like so much debt when we were coming into this deal. And so
What would you say was the total amount of debt that we were coming into at the time?
right close to 300,000.
Okay. That's everything?
I
What
mean
about
that,
like the payday loans and all the other stuff?
I mean, including that, is probably a little close to 400.
Okay. So what about taxes and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, the payroll tax, that we didn't even find out until months later because it was against him personally.
Okay. Got it.
So that was a challenge there. But so there was all this money that was behind, but then it was like going into the operation and it's like, wow, this company has this great product. Like you go on the plantguy.com, you see the product, it's beautiful. Like what they do from the creative standpoint and the actual product creation standpoint is amazing. But going in, the entire operation, it needed so much. And so, from the standpoint of, leads coming into the business, there was no CRM, customer relation management tool. It was just leads came in, Matthew would screenshot them, send them to his sales reps, they would call them, they either sold them or they didn't. So that's, one of the areas of
Guys,
opportunity.
this isn't happening in 2015. This was happening in 2023. Like think about the technology that he was taking screenshots and sending them to his team
Yeah.
rather than like just sending somebody in the DMs like, "Hey, thank you so much. Here's an order link that you can just order directly through."
Yeah.
I can't even imagine like what has had to go through, but that's what they were doing, screenshotting to salespeople, and nothing was happening with these.
Yeah, and you couldn't buy on the website either. There's no way to buy on the website. There was no form submission on the website. There was a phone number to call.
Was that done intentionally?
I just don't think he knew, and I don't think their team like put any focus on it. But like those were areas of opportunity, and so that was another area where it's like, okay, there's no technology to like follow up with how their leads are coming in, and then when they would actually get a sale, they had this. When I went out to Florida, they had in their back of their office, they had all these white papers all over the wall. It was like a Trello board of projects with just printed out orders on the wall, and it was like new orders, problem orders that were like highlighted red, and then like completed orders with highlights in green.
This
And
is printed
like printed papers of like what's going on
in 2023.
in 2023. So, needless to say, those are a couple of the first projects we tackled was, okay, let's implement a CRM. Let's get, this team utilizing this thing. Let's get this website set up where we could actually get leads on the website. So we actually started, getting leads on the website within the first 60 days once we got that up. And then we started at the beginning of this year, crazy, but, selling product online.
Yeah.
So we implemented this whole, inventory system where we have an inventory specialist. We're creating SKUs on hundreds of different products. So we, know exactly what our gross profit's going to be on the products versus just selling stuff and hoping that we're selling it at a price that makes money. So, there was no system behind how they were, pricing the products they were selling, managing of the inventory. It was just all, very unorganized, but again, a great product. And so website had to be fixed, started selling online, CRM had to be implemented, team had to learn how to use it. We had to take that, white, paper system and put it online so the design center can actually communicate with the production facility. When an order comes in, it could just go to that other facility where they don't have to drive and let them know that there's a new order. So like those were a few of the first things that we, started attacking.
What's interesting is that from the viewer standpoint is like, okay, so you guys went and hired a bunch of people to do this. No, the way that we have set up our company, and Cody is the CEO of the company. Cody has under his tenure, underneath his management, we have a full-time CFO, unbelievable gangster CFO who has a PhD. We have a COO. We have a whole entire department. We have a company that does all of these things, so that the plant guy didn't need to go hire a CFO, didn't need to hire a COO, didn't need to hire a CEO. Essentially, what you and I do is that mostly you. I brought the deal to the table. I helped structure the deal, those types of things, and I've helped bring money to the table, et cetera. But outside of me, you guys are running this company on a fractional basis in a lot of ways, right? We took half ownership, and we could have taken more ownership, but we really wanted Matthew Lang to remain one of the owners. And he's the visionary. He's the face of the company. So a tip, and one thing that Cody and I talked about early on is the types of businesses we want to stay away from are businesses that would require us to be the face of that organization, right? Because when you have a company, there needs to be a dancing bear. There needs to be somebody who's marketing that company on podcasts, on YouTube, talking about the company, doing ads on whatever, running the vision of that company. And if you have to go and buy a company and you have to also create an Instagram account and be the person dancing and selling that product all the time, it's another layer that just is not something that we were willing to do. So the plant guy actually fit into our protocol, which is something that we'll get to talking about here in a couple of minutes, is that saved us a lot of time so that you could just work on the back end systems of the company.
Yeah.
Which I would say is 99% of everybody's problems.
Yeah, totally.
So guys, just so you know, if there's ever a time where you guys are like, look, I'm doing $500,000 a year in revenue. I'm doing 30, 40, $50,000 a month in revenue. I really hope and wish I could find somebody that can help me get through some of these bumps, these bruises, etc. That's what Cody does. Cody teaches and all this kind of stuff. He actually has a program called Scale with Pros that actually helps people get through this phase, right? Gets through this phase of like, I don't know what my next step is. I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. This is what Matthew Lang was going through. He was going through such stressful moments that he was having suicidal thoughts. Like, that's how bad this is. And I imagine there's a lot of people watching this right now going, man, I've got a barber shop. I've got an accounting firm. I've got a plumbing company, electrical company. I've got this framing company I'm doing. I'm struggling. I'm stuck at this like $30,000, $40,000 a month in revenue. That's exactly what Cody is specialized in doing, is helping business owners get past that. So if you guys want some help, just like we've helped the plant guy, we'll put a link down below. Is it scalewithpros.com?
Yeah, scalewithpros.com, but we'll put a link below specifically if you're interested in seeing like maybe how we could help you and, work through those specific problems in your business.
Okay, cool. So if you guys are one of those business owners, just know that some of the topics and the conversations we're having around Plant Guy and also the next company that we're going to talk about as well, you're like, that sounds like me. I wish I had some help from Cody. I wish I had a CFO. I wish I had a COO. If that hits you and you're like, I need that, just so you know, there's a link down below. You guys can get a little bit of help. So with Matthew Lang, I remember, here's my involvement. Matthew will text me every month or so and just go, thank you. You saved my life. Thank you. You saved my life. Now, there's some times where he also texts me. He's like, I'm getting pressure from Cody and it's stressing me out. So what does that relationship look like in Manifest You, our company that comes in and fractionally kind of runs that company, and Plant Guy? What things is Plant Guy in charge of and what things are we in charge of?
Yeah, so I mean, from the beginning with him, it's like we're not experts in product and creating these amazing flowers and all the stuff. So it's like, first things first is like he's owns the entire product production side. That is his baby. And then the other piece of it is, the brand, which is the marketing side and the, sales side. And so that's one of the areas that we're still working through, is on the sales side of like really getting Matthew to be on the same page of like how like a sales organization, has to run, in this professionalized type of business. And so, but on our end, bringing expertise of like, hey, like this is how we should set up the flows for the CRM, how the sales team should work it. Hey, here's how we should set up the script so that they're following the same type of process. We're not getting unpredictable results. And the other piece around the marketing is, as you are for, different companies, making the ads and doing the call to actions, he's the guy for, the Plant Guy ads when we're, now selling online, which he has no idea how the sales happen. He's just a happy camper, just sees sales happening every single week now from ads that, we just have a make. And then, we have a team that's just helping run those ads on, Facebook and Google for him.
Predictable results. Guys, write that down. Does your company have predictable results? Do you feel like if you put an advertisement out there and leads came in, that your sales organization would predictably have the right conversion percentage across the board? Are they following the same process? These things sound simple, but they're the reason why Matthew went from suicidal thoughts to, holy crap, I've got a new car and I'm taking care of my family. And Matthew Lang had never taken home a paycheck in 9 years of running the Plant Guy. He was just pulling money out of the business account for 8 or 9 months. Whenever there's money, he just pulled it out of the business account. Now he gets paid a paycheck. The money is organized. Like, I get a report as an owner every couple of weeks from Ben, the CFO. The guy has basically cried to me on voice memo multiple times saying, you guys have saved my entire business. So not only have the numbers gone up, but what Cody and the team have done, here's what was really surprising. You and I had a meeting, I don't know, a couple months ago. We were talking about what are all the things we've accomplished with the Plant Guy. Paying off debts.
Oh my gosh.
Paying off, when you started listing off the debts that we've been paying off and working down to the point where now we can put money in the bank.
Yeah, we have reserves. There's reserves in the company account now. It's crazy. It's, which never like wasn't even on the, Matthew was like, I've never had reserves ever in my entire existence of being in business. And it's like, we actually have, the cost of payroll in a separate bank account set aside, which is which is another great feat, paying down tons of debt plus actually building reserves to be able to make better decisions. And when we build those too, it's like, for Plant Guy specifically, it's a very product heavy business. We can go and invest and buy 100 pots at the same time and then reduce the cost and then have more profitability as well.
Yeah, you have a lot more negotiating power with your supplier where you can get more product at a cheaper price and even get a higher quality one as well. And you can get it to you on time. They'll put you in a priority phase rather than go, well, you're not our biggest client. We're going to put our bigger clients at the priority, like in the phase where things will go out the door right away. So when you're making large orders, because you have a reserve capital and you have the ability to actually put things on a credit card instead of, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay my payroll tomorrow? Literally, this is in 18 months. He went from he's getting payday loans to pay his payroll. He's using credit cards to pay off credit cards. And he ran out of money to the point where he's like, now I have to beg my friend's family for capital in order to pay my payroll. And then next thing you know, he's asking one of his clients like, hey, I know you're not ready to make that order, but I'll give you a discount on your order if you would put a deposit down today. And all he was trying to do with that deposit was pay his payroll that Friday. Like he went from that to all of my debts are being paid down almost entirely to I get a paycheck myself, my team gets a paycheck, morale is at an all-time high, and I get to go focus on what I want to, which is create more product, be out there creating social media content, hanging out with celebrities that are buying these products, going out and landing more larger contracts. And so a 30% bump in sales, if that's all that Cody and the team accomplished, is an amazing feat. But what they actually accomplished was turning an entire Titanic ship around a full 180 to go the opposite direction. It's absolutely amazing. So what are some of the lessons you've learned with Plant Guy that you're like, I wish we did this earlier and I wish I knew this earlier?
Yeah, on this deal, I would say one of the things just in going forward in the future is I probably wouldn't be interested in doing like product-based businesses again, just because of just strictly like the inventory. Like even when there's, profitability, it's like like I said earlier, it's like
It's tied up in inventory.
It's like, all right, we got 170 of these pots, we got walls filled with these flowers, we got that, it's like there's, all this inventory that a lot of the cash ends up getting tied up in, which is fine because like the money's in the inventory. But, so that's one of the lessons that I think about. But the other thing is I would have, as far as done differently, I would have had us push harder even more on the online selling even sooner. Which part of that was like Matthew was really skeptical. He's like, are people going to spend $3,000 to buy a flower on the internet? And like, so there's some buy-in issues that I had initially, but then as we've started selling more, now he's excited and, seeing that. So I think we would have pushed on that harder, faster towards the front end. And then I think the other thing was, I think we would have probably spent a little bit more time on refining the, sales team's processes, but, also some of that is buy-in because, where the visionary of the team has to be bought in because otherwise you try to implement something and it's like, oh yeah, it's important, but, we'll
And
deal
then the
with
whole
it
team
later.
looks at him and goes, well, what do you think, Matthew? It's like,
Yes.
don't ask Matthew what he thinks. He got us in the situation that we had to get us out of. Right?
Yeah, so that's some of the challenge, and where it's, in another state, we give some direction. They're like, okay, like, yeah, like we'll get to it when we can. So there's some of those things.
But what
that,
about, there was
you
also a sales guy that was the number one sales guy that ended up leaving not too long ago.
Yeah, he was a cancer.
Okay, so again, guys, take a note on this. You have a cancer. I look at this and I'm like, why did we let the guy stick around for a while? I think what it is it's like, I hope this guy fixes himself because right now he's bringing in results. And so you are willing to put up with somebody because they're giving results. The guy ended up not being able to make it anyway. He was a cancer. Has it improved since he's been gone?
Oh yeah. So I mean, Matthew thought the company was just going to crater after he's literally, which he really was selling 60-70% of all of the sales between the three salespeople was that one guy. But what's funny is now the sales that he was making is now split between, the other three reps, and they're selling a little bit under what, he was selling, but combined as the three, they're still keeping up with what it was, but now it's just a lot better environment, a lot better culture. Another thing that's a challenge too, sometimes when you have, maybe a high performer, but they're just not a great culture fit, is they kind of, it infects the rest of the team. It's like, hey, this is how we need to do things. And like the other team's like, all right, let's do it. And then you have the guy that's like, I'm not doing that, And so,
and then when you put up with it, you show people what you're willing to put up with.
Yeah.
And that attitude, it's like having a 3-year-old child. It's like, if you are letting them squabble, complain, etc., they're going to continue to do it. And then the other kids are going to go, oh, that works. I can get ice cream when I complain. And so, it's great that you overcame that. Again, guys, if you guys are in this situation where you're like, I got sales issues, I got process issues, I've got these things that I can't figure out. I just need to be out in the field landing the deals. Like, that's my personality. My personality is, let me go close the deal. Let me go be the visionary. Let me go find new ideas and new business models. If you guys need help with that, go down below. Cody has a link down there that he can help you out. The team that helped turn Plant Guy around can help you guys in your business around. So what do you think the sales for 2025 will be for Plant Guy? What is the goal? Is it 6 million?
So the goal, it's a stretch. So it's like, our stretch goal is 7 million. What I think, so if we land at 6, I would be happy, but we're stretching for 7 is what we want to go after. And so it's really just going to depend on the execution of some of these areas that we're going to be relying on Matthew to help execute on.
Like what? Landing deals or finding new products or what?
Landing some of those big deals, yeah. Like really helping put a focus on those and really helping the team duplicate that. Because a lot of the time, those big $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 deals, Matthew's getting them. And so if Matthew's not getting them, how do we predictably create that type of result?
Because he is the brand, right?
He's the brand.
He is the Plant Guy. So what happens is you've got like DJ Khaled, you've got Mariah Carey, HETB.
Billy Joel we're doing a project for right now.
Billy Joel is one of my childhood heroes. That's weird that I own a company that is doing something for Billy Joel. That's freaking great, crazy.
Yeah. So, that's, but, Matthew being the Plant Guy, it's like the biggest thing that we're gonna, I think, is gonna be one of those indicators.
Who is documenting all of these things?
Matthew, him and Steve, his videographer.
Why is he not doing YouTube content around this? This is insane. Like, here's a new project for Billy. Like, and that should be a TV episode by itself. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I'm gonna send a voice memo to Matthew. Oh my gosh.
Please do. I've been telling him, like, we got to get, the podcast and the stuff. And he's like, I'm just feeling like I could start to breathe from, all this other stuff. And like, he's like 90% out of the production side now too, because we've really, credit to him.
Man, even if I sat down with him once a month and just said, tell me the projects you're working on, and then the team just overlaid B-roll talking about the project they did, like that is a simple thing. Like, a new project came out. Billy Joel we got a project for Billy Joel? That's cooler to me than Mariah Carey or DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
What the freak?
Yeah. So, that's what I think is the bottleneck to that being the reality next year. And then the other part is, us successfully continuing to scale up the online side. We were getting into some really good momentum on online selling. And then a couple issues was, our best product, we ran out of inventory. And so that obviously not ideal. So, it's just there. So we actually have a consultant that's been, on a 90-day contract that's set up inventory management systems for other companies that we have working with them right now to, get the, finalize getting like a SKU system in place and how, we're tracking the inventory so that, those types of issues don't happen. But, that was just their antiquated systems weren't keeping up with all of that. So, inventory issues. So that's another thing that, we really need them to be dialed in on, is making sure we have the inventory so we can continue scaling. Because, as far as ads go, it's like you scale up, and then if you scale them down, then it's like weird. As you scale up, you have to do it slow. You can't just like ramp it or throttle it right back up. So, those are a couple of the areas that I think the online side will be really significant for sales next year. Pending that problem is solved, and then the bigger projects with Matthew, really pouring into the team to be able to get those bigger deals as well.
On the online store, do you have like photos of the famous people's products, like at the very top, like recent products, Billy Joel, before they scroll down to products?
Yeah, so some of them are on there. Were like DJ Khaled, Rick Ross. When he did Rick Ross's car show, we have some of the pictures with them on there as well. Yeah.
Okay, gosh dang, dude.
Yeah, or as seen on HGTV and all these other channels and stuff too. So,
okay, that's a lot sexier in the business we're about to talk about, which is cleaning people's toilets. So the other business that we bought into last year is called what? The Perfect Clean.
Perfect Clean. Yeah.
Now, the Perfect Clean, I'm actually really excited about, but it sounds like we're not quite ready to do the thing that I'm excited about, which is franchise the model. Because I feel like where a lot of money will be made, we make good money on cleaning six. We clean six. Dre, do you know we cleaned 600 houses this month, bro? That's insane. Are you kidding me? Okay. So the Perfect Clean, this came from actually a referral. Yeah. We ended up buying the company, and the this is also really great is that the founders are still in place in the company, which is a model that you and I like to follow.
Absolutely. And, there's been lots of great learnings on this particular deal as well. But, coming in, another thing on this is, like you said, it's like the founders staying in place. The brand is good. Like their branding's good. Their website's good. Like their Instagram presence is good. Like all of those things that are essential for the brand to be successful are there. And they actually had, good technology. But, there is definitely, when it comes to like areas of opportunity, there wasn't really an operating system that was being followed, in place, like setting up like the proper way to do the scorecard system for the company. And then one of the things that we didn't know was going to be a challenge, which, it took the first few months to really work through this, getting into the deal, was the team that was in place. Like literally one of the, when we first closed on the deal, the first couple weeks we did, our planning for the next 6 months so we can like, okay, how are we going to attack this? And we had to basically throw the plan out the window because the first 3 months it was, okay, we're trying to implement, and their operations team that they had in place, all their supervisors resisted all of the change, wouldn't implement it, didn't want to do it, did all of this stuff.
How many people were on the team and how many people are still there?
We have over 30 on the team right now, but as far as like leadership roles, like cleaners, those churn typically between 90 and 100
How
days
many
anyway.
people were running the company besides the founders?
Operations coordinator, and then they had 4 supervisors.
Are any of them still there?
None of them.
None.
So we had to bring in a new operations coordinator, and then now we've been rebuilding the supervisor team. So now we have 2 other supervisors.
Okay, so the people watching right now are probably sitting here going, all right, I own a business. I want help hiring the right people, turning people over, knowing and identifying if these people are going to make it a long term.
Yeah.
Giving myself permission to let this person go that maybe I've outgrown. Is that something also that people can learn about by clicking the link down in the description?
Yeah, absolutely. We could help people do it, and more importantly, identify if that even makes sense for them, if they need to maybe, change up who's on their team. And I would say on that too is like, we're not, we don't want to come into companies and be like, fire all of your team. Like that's absolutely not what we want to do. But we do want to see, is this person the right fit for what they're doing? And are they, more importantly, the right culture fit to continue moving the company forward?
Yeah, because I think at the Plant Guy, the majority of people had stayed there for the last year and a half. It's just been a couple of people that have, like the main salesperson was a cancer.
Yeah, we churned the whole sales team. The whole sales team is brand new. We've churned probably half the production team into new production team members there. So
wow,
those were the 2 biggest areas, and then we actually hired a new welder as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we've had a decent amount of change there, all for the better, and they're all better team members that have been brought in.
Okay, 600 houses are being cleaned. That's a lot. That's a big operation. Most of those people are cleaners.
Yeah.
And then you've got a team, obviously, of operations. But where do the sales come from primarily?
So this is another thing. So how they were doing Facebook ads when we were coming in, like it's working, we're getting $6 cost per leads. But one of the first things that we did also in that first couple months was we were analyzing, and this is very boring, business math, but we were analyzing like what is the lifetime value, more importantly, our lifetime gross profit on our customers that we have right now. And so we can identify how much revenue we actually collect in gross profit. And then we were matching it with, okay, what's our customer acquisition cost on that as well? And what we were looking at was it was the negative. They were actually losing money on all of the ads they were doing.
Even though they were excited about a $6 acquisition.
Because they were just looking at, okay, it costs us this much to get a lead, but they weren't looking at how many of those leads to actually convert. They were just like, we're getting customers from it, but when you did the math, it wasn't working. So like that was one of the things we had to cut out. But so this is the really cool thing is, and this is all credit to Zach that's implemented this stuff, but just with now the database of all of the past customers for the last 4 years that they have, this month we're trending towards, almost $200,000 for revenue this month. And that's with $0 in ad spend. It's literally all just working the list and working the database. And our plan is in December to start doing marketing again, but really, really honing in on making sure our gross profit to the customers we're getting is in alignment. So that's our plan to then start growing the company more. But it was first, okay, what we're doing right now is not working. It's not profitable. Oh, and by the way, we have a team that doesn't want to actually cooperate and like do the things we need to do.
Why would a company team member not want to cooperate? What are you see the number one, number two, number three reasons why they don't want to cooperate?
I mean, a lot of times in companies, they're just clocking in, clocking out, and they don't want to do any more than they've ever been asked to do besides their
Is it
one job.
because that's the culture of the company?
It's the culture of the company, absolutely. Like, and that's, one of the things that we help these companies with, and this is how we found this out, was we established their core values, their vision, their mission as a company. And then when they were rolling out their vision, their mission, their core values, and then they were rating their different team members, on their core values. And then when they were having those team members that weren't in alignment, when those conversations happened, they're like, no, I don't align with that, or I don't want to do that. And there was one girl which actually cost the company over $50,000, a $50,000 mistake. And this is the cost for people that, if you don't know how to hire and you hire the wrong people, over $50,000. And so this is one of the biggest issues for, just cleaning companies in general, is just hiring cleaners. And so the girl,
Oh, I know this story. This is too good.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous. And so basically, there is the girl that was in charge, the ops coordinator that was there. Now we have a great one. That was there that was in charge of hiring new cleaners. And so they were paying for ads to get cleaner applications in. She was just telling Ryan and Zach, our partners at Perfect Clean, yeah, we're not getting any interest. No candidates are coming through. Yeah, you guys are just going to have to find an agency or someone else to help recruit for us. So they go to an outside hiring agency to get
Super
cleaners.
expensive.
Super expensive. Gets over $50,000 in, basically debts against the company because of, paying this outside agency. And the craziest thing is we then have to let go of that girl on the team to bring in the new ops coordinator. That first day, Ryan sits down, looks at her phone. She has over 800 interested cleaners from ads that have been out, from their own internal efforts, that had reached out to the company phone, that she never communicated.
Was
that
it like
there.
just out of complete like rebellion? I don't want to do this job, or was it that she wasn't even aware that those 800 existed?
I mean, it would be pretty hard to not see 800 text messages on the phone, because they were applying, and then the Indeed would send the messages to the phone, and then they could also call if they're interested in the role. So she just wasn't responding because it was like, oh, she didn't have to do work. They found an agency, so yeah, I don't have to do this. And so now we have that ops coordinator is doing all the interviews for cleaners. Our team is just running the ads to bring in new cleaners, and just is teeing up cleaners every week for that ops coordinator. And now we don't have to pay this expensive agency. And now we have better tracking on the cleaners, and we're in more control of it.
How much money can a franchise of one of these make?
Like 80 to 100,000 a year, if they, depending on what market they're in and the zip codes that they're in.
That's net.
Net, yeah.
Okay, cool. So if you're somebody that's like, hey, I want to have a couple of these franchises in a couple of like areas around me, you could make $200,000, $300,000 a year if you had a couple of franchises around you.
Yeah.
Or it could just be kind of a side. If let's say I buy a franchise today from the Perfect Clean, and it takes me a couple months to get it up operational, and I spend, let's say, 2 hours a day on it. If I have a good team, obviously, could I spend 2 hours a day on it and still make $80,000 to $100,000 a year?
I would say they'd probably want to have at least like an ops coordinator type role. So it might take it to where you'd probably need 2 franchises to make that kind of money. But then where you're doing it only part-time at that point.
Okay, got it. Okay, very, very cool. And what will it take for us to sell franchises?
Really, it's been fixing these problems at corporate, because that's, the big thing is like, guys, like,
You can't sell a freaking franchise if our house is dirty.
Our house needs to be in order for us to then, put these things out. So that's where even, refining the process for the cleaners. It's like, okay, we have a recruiting system that works, that now we can go show the franchisees, this is the process that you follow from start to finish, A to Z, so they can be successful in sourcing their cleaners. Here's the process A to Z on how you do your marketing profitably, which is, again, that's why we were helping them fix that as well. So, we're really getting those in place. So then we can have that as part of the franchisees thing, is like, here's your marketing plan. Here's your plan for bringing in the talent. Here's all of the technology that you need to use. And it's like everything they need to be successful.
$200,000 in sales on a cleaning company in 1 month. That's crazy. Yeah. What were the sales when they first bought the company?
I think it was like 130 something or 140,000 back in like beginning of summer.
Okay, so in 6 months or so, you've taken it to add basically 40% more sales.
Yeah, and there has been a lot of hurdles through all of that because of those same problems of
Well, there
like
was also, I remember there was a month where the Twilio account that allows the text messages to go out to all the clients, the Twilio account goes down.
yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. So we've not had we have definitely had our hurdles to overcome of, you know, a person on the team that doesn't want to help with the hiring, having to basically rebuild the whole leadership team. And then also just some spend issues that the company was having. Like, and we're actually literally this week, fingers crossed, there's someone that's going to be taking over a lease of a second office that they had. They were spending over $5,000 a month on a second office just to meet potential franchisees. And I'm like, guys, like, why are we spending
They're
five
not
grand?
even ready to sell a franchise.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but they're in a 3-year lease. And so I got them with a broker. We've had it listed for the last 2 months. And now, you know, we're
So they're
negotiating.
subleasing it.
Yes. And, you know, that'll add another $5,000 to, you know, the bottom line.
It's really interesting to me that, you know, these owners, it's so simple for you because you're standing outside of the trees. You can see what's going on.
Yeah.
The owners are in the forest. So they're like,
Yeah.
look, I don't know which way to go. I'm overwhelmed. Guys, if you feel overwhelmed in your business, you're generating 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month in revenue, but you feel like you're just running around in circles. You don't know where the next step is, what path to take, etc. Cody, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I mean, as far as that goes, you know, link in the description, you know, people can get more information on like how we could help them, you know, figure out these problems and identify the gaps that they don't even know that they don't know that they have in their business. But outside of that, you know, you can follow me on Instagram.
Guys, in the YouTube comments down below, tell me what your number one problem with your business is. I bet you it's 80% of the time it's tracking finances, taxes, bookkeeping, all that kind of stuff. How would a company know that they need to have a consulting agreement with a company like us?
I mean, I would say the biggest thing is that, you know, it's just booking, you know, going through the description below, booking a call on our team, actually just having a conversation and getting an understanding of like, you know, it's kind of like when you go to a doctor and you get your health checkup. You know, we have a conversation. We want to see it's like, okay, let's get your blood pressure. Let's, you know, let's check some of your vitals and see like what's going on in the business to get this like good, you know, big picture. And then, you know, from there, we look at what recommendations might make sense based off of that individual business.
Guys, if you got some value out of this, let us know down in the comments. We also want to know what's your number one problem that you have in your business. If you guys need some help, maybe want somebody to buy your business, you need somebody to consult for your business, you guys need somebody to go, I just need somebody to tell me what to do. Like Coach Cody, tell me what to do. Tell me where my ailments are. Tell me how I can fix those things. Give me a prescription, doctor.
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Cody can do that for you. We got a link in the description down below to help you out with that. And we're actually going to battle about, he loves to buy businesses. So do I, but I also love real estate. And we're going to be battling, should I buy business or should I buy real estate today? Stay tuned for that video. We'll see you in the next one.